Today we're here at Floor & Decor and I'm going to be giving you guys the ultimate guide on how you can perform the perfect and most hassle-free bathroom modeling project. I'm going to be talking about tiles, the different kind of tiles you should use and the ones that you should absolutely stick away from. I'm going to be talking about the ultimate best designs of tiles for 2025, ones that are modern, the ones that are popular. I am also going to be talking about grouts and also schulter strips and all those kind of things, everything that you need so that you guys can perform the perfect and most hassle-free project. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can find the perfect contractor that will do a perfect job and that you will have no hassle with. So let's not waste any more time and let's get inside. All right, let's start with this section of the store. Let's talk about 12 by 24 porcelain and ceramic tiles. As you guys can see, we have a very wide selection of these tiles. Something that is very important is that you guys do not use very cheap tiles like these ones right here. If you come up closer, you can actually see there's like a ledge here. You know, you can actually see this. These are sticking out. The reason to that is some of these tiles, if they are very cheap, they can actually have a little bit of a bend in them. They actually don't recommend even installing them half by half. As you can see in this picture, they kind of have like a 33 by 67. That is going to be the most popular way of installing these tiles. So it's very important that if you guys do go with these kind of tiles, they are not going to be very straight. So you're going to have to install them not half by half, but 33 by 67. But a lot of the times they'll actually show it on the box. And not only that, but the contractor should know about this as well. So here we actually have an example. As you guys can see, this is 33 by 67, the way that this is installed. And this is actually a porcelain tile, you can see, and it looks pretty good as well. So something that you have to notice is that not all the time it's going to be perfect to do a half by half over here. As you can see, they did it half by half and maybe they didn't use leveling clips. However, this is very common. You will see this kind of ledge here and it's just not going to be very good. So make sure that you aren't using a very cheap, ceramic tiles or porcelain tiles, 12 by 24, especially once we get into the way bigger tiles. They actually have a really big bend. And when you even put it on the ground and you step with your foot on it, it can actually bend, which I will actually show you. Our client recently purchased this tile so that we can see if this is going to be a nice tile for their upcoming project that we're actually starting tomorrow. We put the tile on the ground, we stepped on it, and it actually bent it out to be flat. It's not going to be a good tile, so we'll get to that tile a little bit later on, and I'll show you why that is absolutely a no-go. This tile right here, we've installed it so many times before. This is 12 by 24. This is a porcelain tile with a glossy finish. As you guys can see, there's a lot of grain here, but it's very subtle, and it's going to be very nice. Like I said, we've installed these many times before for our clients. There's never been an issue. These are very good tiles to install. These are the San Giorgio tiles. So these are Italian. It's a very nice design and it's very subtle. Like I said, this is the perfect tile you can go with. And this one here is only $2.89 per square foot, which is a really good price. So here we have a tile that is absolutely not one that you should buy. This is a 15 by 30 ceramic tile. This is actually the same tile that the client chose to try to install in their house. And if you look at it like this, you can actually see there is a huge bend. When you put this tile on the ground and you actually step on it without installing it, you will see that this will actually bend so that it's completely flat. So you will see that there's a lot of wobble room. So this one here, I would absolutely not recommend. Stick away from this one. This one, as you can see, is $1.89 per square foot, which is a pretty good price. But this is the one that you should not install. And as you can see, the groove here, you can see that there's a lot of lippage there. So absolutely don't go with this one. Get something that's going to be a little bit better. All right, so here's another tile that we actually just recently installed for our clients. As you guys can see, this is a 12 by 24 porcelain tile. This one is $1.79 per square foot, which is a really good price. And when we installed these tiles for our client, they turned out absolutely amazing. They were flawless, very high quality. I really recommend these ones. And they actually have a little bit of a smaller line here for the grout, and it actually looks really good. However, I don't actually recommend using a little bit of a darker grout on here because it kind of just doesn't look that good. I recommend using one that is going to be very similar color to this one. I will have a picture on the screen of how the finished results look like with the grout that we installed for this client with this particular tile. It turned out amazing, very seamless and very luxurious. So I highly recommend this one. It's very high quality and it looks really good as well. We have this tile right here. This one is a 12 by 24 porcelain tile. A lot of people actually like to install these kind of finishes now. It's a matte finish with a kind of like a, not totally black, but very dark gray. It's very good. However, I would really make sure that you are okay with whatever spilling on this, because if you spill some water on here, if you spill maybe some soap or something like that, it's actually going to leave a lot of stains on here. Not permanent, but you are going to see them. And also it can leave a lot of oily texture on there. So if you're walking with your feet, it can actually leave a lot of, that oily residue, which is not going to be very good. So just make sure that when you're installing these tiles that you're going to be okay with those. This one here is only $2.99 per square foot, which is a pretty good price. And we have installed these multiple times before. These tiles actually go really well with maybe like a marble tile, or maybe just a porcelain or ceramic tile with kind of like a gray veins in them. It looks really good, and I highly recommend this one. But like I said, just make sure you're going to be okay with any stains that are going to be on here. And it's also very important that you guys know that the larger the tile is, the more bend that tile is going to have. And especially the thinner the tile is, it's going to have more bend. And especially if the price is going to be a little bit cheaper, then it's going to have that bend as well. So just make sure that you're not buying, very cheap tiles. Spend a little bit extra money to get something very high quality, because at the end of the day, you don't do bathroom models or remodels in your kitchen very often. So you want to get tiles that you will like for the next 10 years or even more. So now let's talk about marble tiles. Actually, not many of our clients choose to install marble tiles. There's a few reasons to that. First of all, it's very expensive. As you guys can see, these prices are very high. Like for example, this one right here is $9 per square foot. It's pretty expensive, and a lot of people choose to do a cheaper option. Also, another reason to that is there's a lot of imperfections in tile. As you guys can see, in marble tile, there's a lot of these imperfections, a lot of these holes, which, usually if people are choosing these kind of tiles, they will know that there's going to be imperfections, and they're totally okay with it. Also, it's very important that these tiles actually bleed through whatever is in the back. So if you're choosing a little bit of a gray marble tile, you need to choose a darker mortar, so maybe like a gray mortar. If you're choosing a white marble tile like this one, a little bit of a lighter color like a gray or white mortar, that is going to be the best, because like I said, it's going to bleed through the back, and you are going to see that. So whenever the water is on, you're going to see a little bit of that color that is in the back. So make sure you're choosing the right mortar color. There are different colors to the mortar, so that is definitely something that you can do. Also, a lot of people choose to do a sealer on the marble tile before they install the grout. That is also a good idea, so that you can preserve the marble tile for as long as possible. Not many of our clients actually choose to do a textured tile, like a 3D tile, or maybe something that has a little bit more texture, more design to it. However, I really recommend these kind of tiles. As you guys can see, these are very nice. They have a very nice texture to it. 3D design, this is definitely going to stick out. And especially if you're doing like a light above the shower, it's going to really make these tiles pop. So I really recommend these ones. You also have them right here, some kind of, texture on here. Also, if you come up over here, we have more tile right here. This is actually one that we have in 2 of our bathrooms. They're very nice. And with the light above the tub and shower, it just looks so good. Very nice 3D effect. We have this one right here, which I personally don't really like this one. But if we come up closer here, this one is very nice as well. As you guys can see, this is like an off-white kind of beige color. This is a ceramic wall tile. I really recommend this one as well. I'll come up closer over here. I really like this one. This one is a 3D design, and it looks so good. So I really recommend you guys actually look at these ones, because they're very nice. This one here, I wouldn't really recommend. It really depends on the style that you are going with and what you like. But not many people will actually like this. So for resale, I would really make sure you're looking for tile that also a lot of other people will like. So when you're choosing tile for your custom shower base, it's important to use mosaic tile. The reason to that is that this is on a net, so it's flexible and you can perform a slope into the drain. I have seen people do an envelope cut, and we've done them before as well, but it just doesn't really look that good. And you can actually feel all the grooves and all the cuts in your feet. It doesn't feel really good, and I really wouldn't recommend it. The perfect one to have a seamless and very comfortable look and feel when you're in the shower is to go with mosaic tiles. Like I said, it has the net, so it's going to be really easy to install if you know what you're doing, and if the contractor knows what they're doing, it will be very nice and seamless. I highly recommend these ones. This one I think is actually pretty nice, but you can look around and find a style that you like the most. You also want to make sure that for smaller spaces, you guys are not using very busy tiles. I think these ones aren't very busy. However, this one here in black is a little bit more busy because you have gold, you have a lot of white with the grout, and also black here. I think for smaller spaces like kitchen backsplashes in really small kitchens, this is going to be way too busy. And I think, you know, if we go over here, you have a lot more tiles here that are very busy. Like for example, this one here, this one or this one, they're just a little bit too busy for smaller spaces. So if you want to use these tiles, you can. Make sure these tiles you're installing in a little bit of bigger spaces so that it's not busy and that it's not an eyesore for you. Let's talk about large format tiles. These ones here, as you guys can see, are actually 32 by 64. This is a really big tile. We've actually installed not this one, but this one before for a client. These ones right here are 30 by 60. So it actually went really well in their 60 wide tub shower. It looked really good. And I think that this one can actually be really nice. I think that you also have to make sure is that whoever's installing this tile, they're doing a good job and that they have good tools, because this is very expensive. So if you crack one or even chip the corner, it's going to be very expensive to replace. But these ones, I would actually recommend installing these. Maybe not in smaller spaces where you actually have to cut them, but maybe if you have, like I said, like a 60 wide, this would be perfect. And I've heard people say that large format tiles are not very good in colder climates, that they're good in maybe warmer climates like Florida, Miami. It's a little bit more luxurious in there, and that these tiles are going to take a better beating on the climate change there. However, I don't really think it matters. You can install these wherever. It's going to be good wherever you go. We've actually installed these tiles before for a client and they turned out amazing. I highly recommend these ones. If you come up closer, you can see that these are actually not perfectly straight, and they're supposed to be like this. You are not meant to use any spacers on these or any leveling clips because they are not level within themselves. And that is the overall design of this tile. If you come up closer, this is what it all looks like. And I really like that they used a light color grout on here. It looks very nice and seamless. And once you actually install these in a bathroom, it looks very good. I highly recommend this one. This one here is $1.49 for each tile, but I think these are really nice and they're really gonna enhance the look of your new bathroom. Let's take a look at this design right here. I actually really like it, and we've installed this one 2 times before for a client. It turned out amazing. The client actually came here into Floor & Decor and they saw this design. They really liked it. I think that this is a really nice design and I highly recommend it. You can actually visually see that this looks really well together. We have here these marble mosaic tiles here in a hexagon shapes, and you also have these ledges right here that go on the outside and looks really good. I also like the color of the grout that they went with over here. I think we did a little bit of like a gray color grout on these tiles for the clients, but it turned out really good either way, and I highly recommend this design. So here we actually have a visual of the tile that I previously talked about. As you can see, this one actually looks really good together, and we even have gold hardwares on the cabinets. So this one looks really good, but I think that if these were the ones in black, they would not look good in here. But they did a really good job at designing this one, and I would highly recommend this design on, you know, maybe a bar area or your actual kitchen backsplash. So like I said, the black ones are just going to look a little bit too busy, and make sure you're not using these ones in black in very busy and small spaces. I hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. If you guys have any recommendations or ideas of what to film next, you guys have any questions, definitely make sure to leave a like on this video and also comment down below. Let's now go to the grout section and let's talk about the grout, because there's actually a few different types of grout. So you want to make sure you're using the right grout for you, and so it doesn't actually scratch your tile. Okay, so let's talk about the schulter strips now. As you guys can see, there's actually many different designs of the schulter strips, but you want to make sure you know ahead of time what kind of tile thickness you are going with, because there's actually multiple different thicknesses of the schulter strips. So you want to make sure you're not buying one like this one, which might be a little bit too thick for your you know, thin subway tiles or even some of the thinner ceramic or porcelain tiles. So you want to make sure you know ahead of time what kind of tile thickness you're going with. As far as doesn't matter if it's these metal or plastic, it really doesn't matter. It's whatever you like, but make sure if you are using these ones right here, these metal ones, that the sanded grout will actually scratch it up a little bit. So make sure you're not going very harsh on this one. See, this one is a little bit of a more polished or smooth one. So this one you will see many scratches on here if you're running it with you know, sanded grout. So if you are, make sure you're not getting any grout on here, because these will scratch it up. So we're actually back in the displays here to talk about the grout, because I think that it's important to show the entirety of the bathroom of the tiles to show the grout. So as you guys can see, we have a porcelain glossy finish on this tile, and as you guys can see, it looks like they chose a unsanded and sanded, a mixture of both for this tile, and this is the one that you want to go with. The reason with that is because this one right here, if you choose a completely sanded one, it's just going to scratch the surface of it, and you absolutely don't want to do that. So actually unsanded would be perfect for this, but I think sanded and unsanded, from our experience, it's going to do just fine. It's not going to scratch any of these tiles. However, you absolutely don't want to go with sanded, fully sanded grout on this one because it's just going to scratch your surface. This tile right here, this is a matte finish, so you can actually go with a sanded, completely sanded on here. As you guys can see, it's a little bit more sandy. This one actually might be completely sanded. However, it's a little bit hard to tell, but this one does look like it is completely sanded. But I think for whichever instance, the best that you can do if you want no hassle is just to go with unsanded and sanded, the mixture of both. It's going to be the perfect one, and it's not going to leave you with any problems. All right, so you've just got some inspiration in terms of what tile to use. What grout to use, different designs that you can go with for your bathroom remodel. Now let's talk about how you can find the perfect contractor who is going to be reliable, who does good quality work, reasonably priced, and also always on time. So let's get right into it. So when you're on the road in your car, you may see that there's a lot of vans or pickup trucks with, their whole company logo, whole company slogan, what they do, all wrapped on that vehicle. It may say, for example, kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, and it will list the company name. Oftentimes they will also maybe even have a QR code so you can enter their website to look at their reviews, to look at what they specialize in. And it also may have links to like a social media page or something like that. I'm just going to straight off the bat tell you guys that those contractors will usually be more expensive. The reason to that is because when they're wrapping their whole entire car, that means they have a lot of money for advertising, for marketing. They probably have multiple vehicles, multiple work vans, and also have many people working in their company. So usually those companies will be more expensive because they're bigger companies. And like I said, they just spend a lot of money on advertising, a lot of money on marketing. And usually there's only maybe a salesman that goes out to the jobs and only acts as the salesman and actually has his own workers coming to do the job. Obviously, the salesman needs to make money for himself and he needs to pay the workers. So in that case, the contractor may actually end up to be more expensive. Now, I'm not saying those companies are going to be bad because a lot of the times they may do good quality work. If they have good reviews, it looks like the company is really well taken care of and someone really cares about this company. And I don't really see why this company would do a bad job. However, a lot of the times that I've seen with these companies is that if they have so many workers in their company, you really don't know who's coming to do the job. One day it might be one person or two people. The next day there might be two different people. One day they may not show up. That's just kind of how it goes with bigger companies because the workers, let's be honest, they don't really care that much because it's not their own business. Let's give an example of Walmart. If you go to an employee at a Walmart, they're not really going to care or know as much as the manager or the owner of Walmart, because they're just a regular worker. That's kind of how you have to treat those kind of companies. The workers that are in that company are just regular workers. Most of the time that is true, and most of the time they're not going to care just as much about the company as the owner or the manager of that company. However, like I said, that doesn't really have to be true, but most of the time those companies are going to be more expensive than just a regular contractor. But you also don't want to go for a contractor that you have no clue about. You can't find their website, you can't find their company name anywhere on Google. You can't find any reviews or pictures of the work that they do because a lot of those times it may just be a really sketchy contractor and you may not know anything about them. So it's just not really going to be, a really trustworthy contractor if you don't know anything about them. You might not want to really let them into your house because you never know what's going to happen. Those contractors I would stick away from, and a lot of the times those contractors are the ones that are the cheapest. Now, the best contractor that you can go with is a contractor who has a small business. Maybe it's only themselves in that business, so they act as the salesman and they are the ones that are doing the work. Maybe they have another worker working with them or maybe two other workers, but honestly, that's all that it really should be to have the best and most reliable contractor. Usually these contractors are going to be a really reasonably priced and also very friendly, very good quality work. They have good reviews because they really care about their business the most, since it is their business. And they're going to have reasonable prices because they don't spend so much money on advertising and marketing. They don't have to spend so much money on leads. Maybe they just drive a regular van or pickup truck with maybe a business magnet on the door somewhere, or on the side of the van, showing that they are a contractor, what kind of work they do, the company name. But honestly, those are the best contractors that you can possibly go with. But in terms of where to find the contractor that is going to be perfect for you, honestly, recommendations is going to be the best, because maybe you got recommended this contractor from your friend because they did a really good job, so you can actually go into their house. Maybe you will even be able to meet the contractor before he even comes out to give you an estimate. Those contractors are going to be the best, because if someone is recommending that a contractor to you, that means they had a really pleasant experience with them and they highly recommend him. However, receiving a contractor from a recommendation is going to be something that is going to be maybe a little bit harder, because it requires maybe a family member or a friend to go with that contractor, and they have to have a good experience with them in order for them to recommend the contractor to you. So how else can you find the right contractor? Well, I really recommend maybe even doing a Google search, looking for contractors around your area, see their reviews, see their photos of jobs that they've done in the past. And also you can go on Angie, where you will find many contractors to do many different jobs. Angie is a really good platform. You can find so many different contractors. You can find contractors who are a little bit bigger, have a little bit of a bigger business, and you can find smaller contractors with a smaller business, so like the ones I just talked about. That is going to be a really good bet for you guys. You can find many different contractors there that will perform any work that you can possibly think of, whether it's a handyman job or whether it's a long and complex, bathroom remodel. So I highly recommend using that platform. But that is about it for this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video and found it helpful. This was the ultimate guide to help you guys with your bathroom remodel. This is all the designs that you will need for 2025 to perform the best, perfect, and hassle-free bathroom remodel. Bathroom remodels don't have to be stressful. They don't have to have a lot of hassle. It really doesn't have to be that stressful. And Floor and Decor has so many options for you that, honestly, it may be a little bit of a trouble for you, because they have so many designs and there's really a lot of tiles to choose from and designs. But I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. It would help me out if you guys liked this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Good luck on your future remodel.